Week 0 is here. And these NFL draft prospects have everything to prove. We break down who needs to make an immediate impact to boost their draft stock.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast. Cover your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson. I'm an NFL draft analyst with Bleacher Report. That's my guy, Keith Sanchez. He's the director of scouting with the Draft Network in 2019, national champion with those LSU Tigers. And as always, thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. Guys, tomorrow kicks off week 0 of the college football season. We're going to have college football from tomorrow all the way through into middle of January with the national championship or the second week of January.
Sounds good, DP. Sounds good.
Listen, this is what we've been waiting for, Keith, and it's a great time. It's the best time of the year.
Right in the world, man.
Absolutely. Things are correct, guys. We are talking about make a statement. If you've been an everydayer since we took over this pod, you know we do this every single season. We're doing to make a statement on the offensive side of the ball, make a statement on the defensive side of the ball, and there's sleepers to watch in the games on Saturday. So let's start with the offense, Keith. And I mean, for me, I think it has to start with the quarterbacks. And the biggest game of the weekend, you got Iowa State versus Kansas State in Dublin, Ireland. Mm-hmm. And this is a Big 12 matchup, and both of these teams are viewed as legit threats to Arizona State for that Big 12 championship. These are two talented teams, everything like that. And I think I watched both of these quarterbacks over the weekend, over last weekend. And Rocco Becht, man, the Iowa State quarterback, he's got something to him, Keith. He's got some goods to him. Mm-hmm. And I really like what I saw from the kid. He's got an NFL bloodline and pedigree. His dad, I believe, Anthony Becht is I think he's the head coach of one of the UFL teams. I think it's San Antonio or something like that.
Former offensive lineman, I believe.
Yeah, former offensive lineman. So he's got that. He's basically all the cliches, right? The NFL bloodline, the pedigree, son of a coach, because his dad is a coach and everything. So having that NFL bloodline, in his favor, I think this young man's going to be ready for the league when it's time for him to go into the league. But it's going to be a big opportunity for him to make a statement and just start the season off strong. You don't get this chance to start with a cupcake. You start with a legit contender in the same conference you're in. You got to go out there and play ball. He's got good mobility and athleticism in and out of the pocket. I like his arm talent overall. He's got a nice, quick, snappy release. And this is a guy that once he gets into a rhythm, and you can tell when the game is slowed down for him as you're watching film, he's letting it come to him, and he's making the right decisions, making the right plays. Talented playmaker, man. And I think this is a young man that when his time comes, NFL scouts, he's draft eligible now. Will he come out? We'll see. But scouts, I think, will like this young man. I think they're going to like, again, all the stuff, the pedigree, the bloodline, all that. But he has an NFL game as well.
Yeah, no, and I'm with you. The one word you use, DP, in our pre-show meeting, you use gamer, right? Mm-hmm. And that's those guys on the collegiate level that just find a way to get it done, right? Whether it's with their legs, with their arm, scrambling, making a play, those things where you think they may be sacked, right? They're evading 2-3 defenders in the backfield and making a play. So I agree with you. It's going to be really fun watching Rocco Becht. And like you said, there's no tune-up game, right? You talk about week 0. Usually, if you're playing a week 0 game, you're playing Old Dominion, right. Sacramento State, something far off,
something
right?
to knock the rust off. It's your first game out.
For Forum, however you say it, forehand, right? Yeah, something like that. But you get a conference opponent to where this game that you're playing August 25th or whatever it may be, right? 23rd can matter. December 5th, right? It can matter 4 or 5 months later. And so you have to understand how important that is, because these two teams, DP, first of all, Iowa State was in a conference championship game last year against Arizona State, but then Kansas State is one of those teams that you can expect every 3 to 4 years they're going to be in contention, right? For the Big 12 title. And this may be the time. And with that being said, I'm going to switch to the other team and still talk about the quarterback. I'm going to talk about Avery Johnson. I think what's going to make this matchup so fun, DP, is that a lot of things that you say about Rocco Becht, you can say about Avery Johnson. dual threat guy, right? Is a gamer. He can make plays with his legs. He can make call run plays, right? Like he's a guy that you run QB design stuff, whether that's counter or power or QB sweep, things of that nature, but also the off script stuff. Escaping pressure, making throws with his arms, things like that. And you look at his season last year. I have the stats pulled up: 25 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, and I believe that was his first year starting. So now I think he was a true sophomore also last year. So now he's a junior, 1 year under his belt, running the gamut, going through the Big 12. Now he's going to be able to understand different things that's going on. And he had Kansas State, they had 4 losses. I think they were 8-4, wound up being 9-4, I think, last year. So a fairly successful season with him at the helm as a true sophomore. So now you're expecting to take the next step, which would be Big 12 title contention, just overall.
Absolutely. 6'3", like 190 pounds. And like he's a fun player. Like, you're talking about being able to call runs. He can scramble when he needs to because he's got that type of athleticism. Got a good arm. Like he has some layered throws on film. He's got some drive throws on film, similar to Rocco Becht as well. I think, and for him, it's just more so just now that pocket awareness that, like, because like I said, last year was his first year as a starter, over 2,700 yards passing last year, still threw 25 touchdowns. I want to see him improve that completion percentage. Down the stretch of the season, he struggled last year, right? Hitting 41% against Iowa State when they did face each other. He did have 3 touchdowns in that game, 220 yards, 3 touchdowns, but he only completed a little over 41% of his passes, right? Against Rutgers, 50% completion, 15 to 30. Kind of improved that completion percentage. And I think a lot of that, for me, it was going to do when I wrote down my notes on him. He's a cool, calm operator in the pocket. Arm talent is there. But from a negative standpoint, I want to see he lacks urgency with his footwork. And it's not like how we talked about Drew Aller a couple episodes ago where it's like he's heavy-footed. Like, no, he's just and it's not saying that he doesn't care, but it's like he's kind of nonchalant in the pocket where he's not really rushed.
Intentional.
Intentionally. Like, I don't think like he can't move quicker and be quicker. It's more so, hey, in this situation, you need to feel the rush a little bit quicker, not to have so much trust your offensive line. I'm not saying don't trust those big guys, but don't just trust them like they're never getting beat. Like he's very just kind of nonchalant in the pocket with his footwork, and he gets him into trouble. And especially when you kind of have to go through your reads and you get to that second read, and if your feet aren't underneath you and your feet are narrow and you can't really throw from that type of base and throw accurately. And that's where you start to see some of the errant throws, high throws, low throws, off target. Improving the accuracy with his mechanics is going to be a big thing for him. And again, this game is so important for both of these quarterbacks because this is how you start the season. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to go 0-1, not just on the season. That's already tough. But to go 0-1 in the conference, in the Big 12, out the gate, that's difficult, man, especially when you know that you are runner-ups right now and you're chasing Arizona State to get back to the top.
Yep, I agree with DP. Let's do this, man. Let's keep this thing going and flowing. Do we want to switch sides of the football? We're going to some of these defensive prospects, right? We highlighted the quarterbacks. Now let's talk about some of these defensive prospects coming up next.
This episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. This year, me and the Locked On NFL Draft podcast are playing on Yahoo Fantasy. And you should too, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league. To celebrate 28 years of fantasy football greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days throughout August. To kick it off, they just dropped Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine Leagues, a killer new way to play fantasy football on Yahoo, where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated each week until there's only one team left standing. With the season around the corner, now's the time to get your league together and give this new mode a try. If you're more into the classics, you can still play in head-to-head private leagues or join a public league. But guys, it's simple. Stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. Dominique Orange, a.k.a. they call him Big Citrus.
DP. I'm disappointed, man.
I took your guy.
You took my guy and you took my nickname. I wanted to introduce the people to Big Citrus, man. You took it. I was hoping, because I know you like a corner at Iowa State. I'm like, I hope he goes with that guy and allows me to introduce Big Citrus to the people. But keep going. It's all good. It's all good.
My bad, big dog. My bad. Big Citrus, guys. Dominique Orange. I think once you guys get eyes on Big Citrus, you're gonna like him. I think y'all gonna like him a lot. This is a big, strong dude. And Iowa State runs defensively. You'll see different kind of coverages. You'll see or different formations and stuff defensively. You'll see some 4-man fronts. You'll see some 3-3-5. And he's that versatility I like with him, because you see him play a 0, you see him play a 5 on either side. And even though he's a big, the densely built guy and strong, he's got like some juice to him, some athleticism to him and everything. And like, I love the instincts. He's talking about trying to run screens by him. He snuffs those out and chases the ball. Like, I can't remember which game I was watching, but they tried to block him on like a reach block. It was in the red zone. Oh, Iowa. It was Iowa. Because I thought it was Caleb Johnson at first. I was like, okay, wasn't my guy. It was the backup, Moulton. And he just absolutely wrecked him. Like, and I was just like, Jesus Christ, somebody's got to block this guy. You can't let him get through there like that. So they call him Big Citrus. He freshly squeezed. He'll squeeze everything out of the offense. If he gets into the backfield, he can create pressure, get upfield in a hurry. I think there's a lot. And why I think he's the make a statement guy for me, one of the make a statement guys for me, Keith, is simple. Nobody really knows about Big Citrus. And it's time for people to get to know who he is.
Yeah, I agree. And I just got eyes on Big Citrus. When was that? 2 days ago. So was that Tuesday or Wednesday? I got eyes on him for the first time, just getting to the interior defensive linemen in this class. And I'm like, hold on, this guy can play, right? And he is a big boy, right? He pushes 300 pounds, but like you said, he has a suddenness and quickness about himself, right? Like, he's a quick twitch guy to say that he's a high body mass guy, right? That he has a lot of body mass on himself. He's still a quick twitch guy, but I also like too, DP, that I don't know if you got the same vibe, that he was scrappy and had a high motor. Like, this is a guy that's going to pursue. He's a guy that's going to get after it. He kind of reminded me of probably close to Travis Jones body type, but their games are different because he wins with quickness. I thought, Travis Jones won with brute strength. This guy is very similar body type, but he'll win with quickness, hand maneuvers, quick swipes, getting pressure, penetration, shooting gaps, things like that. So expect a lot of activity. And then you talk about him and we talk about Avery Johnson. I think he's going to get pressure on Avery Johnson, right? Yeah, and interior defensive linemen that can do that, they start to create a lot of value for themselves. So I'm excited to watch him because this is a guy that I can very well see fast forward months finishing in the top 100, right? Like he's one of those players that can definitely do that.
No, 100%. When you have the strength and the quickness that he has and his ability to win, and it's crazy enough because I wouldn't be shocked, to be honest with you, Keith, if when he's drafted, because he's listed as, pull up his measurement, 6'4", 325, right? So he's got the body type of a true nose. But again, you watch him and they play him at defensive end, because when they go to their three down lineman set, they go big package on the defensive line, and they have their smaller guys on the second and third levels. And he still wins from out there, whether it's collapsing the pocket, stopping the run, stopping screens. And I'm like, yeah, when you got this type of athleticism, like I'm all in at 325. Yeah, I'm all in on that. Like, and I absolutely think he's going to, like I said, especially talking about what we said about Avery, like the footwork and not being as twitchy or intentionally twitched up. Like, and I think he's a twitchy athlete or mover, but it's like, hey, you got to speed up your process on your own. Don't let the defense speed you up, but you play on time, play a little bit quicker. If he's playing kind of slow, methodical in the pocket like he did last year, Big Citrus about to get the squeeze on him, Keith. Big Citrus about to get back there and get the squeeze on him. Because I'm go right to, you talked about it. The cornerback that I like from over there is Jontez Williams. And, 5'11", 200 pounds. And I remember when we talked about RJ Harvey, you talked about his 40 time probably a couple of weeks ago. And when you watch the game when they played Iowa State, UCF and Iowa State played, like there was a run where RJ Harvey pulled away from the pack, and then Jontez walked him down. So I'm like, if RJ Harvey's 4'4", this kid might be 4'3'8". Like, he just absolutely has speed. He's super scrappy and competitive. Solid, dense build at 200 pounds. I think he could give you – he mostly plays on the outside. He only played 12 snaps in the slot all season last year, but he only given 1 touchdown. He had 4 interceptions, 5 PBUs, allowed less than 185 yards on the season. Targeted 43 times, 16 receptions allowed. So you're talking about a guy that could absolutely – in the cornerback class, and I think when you think about Avion Terrell and his body type, this is going to be a guy that's going to challenge you. This is a dude who's going to challenge you at that same similar build and body type. You're both scrappy. You're both physical for your sizes, but Jontez might be a better athlete. You know what I mean? In terms of straight line speed, flipping his hips, things like that. And he might be a better pure man-to-man guy where, not saying Terrell's a good man-to-man corner, but he gives you both. He might be a better press man-to-man guy. I'm looking forward to seeing him in this game because it's going to be a clash of styles because Kansas State has some big body receivers. I think one of their receivers is 6'5", if I remember correctly. I think he's 6'5". Bradley, I'm going to check it. Yeah, Jerand Bradley, 6'5", 220. And, I think his last time catching prominent passes was in 2023 from Tyler Shuck when he was at Texas Tech. So he's healthy. He's ready to go. That's going to be a different body type that you have to deal with on the outside one-on-one.
Yeah, and for him, DP is going to be about versatility too, right? Because at that size 5'11", 200, we seen this, and I'm not putting him in this category, but like a Trent McDuffie, right? And Trent can play outside and play some outside in college, but then comes in the NFL and is playing nickel, right? And I wonder if he can do some of those things too. But I agree with you. And one of my biggest things with defensive backs is ball skills, right? Like that's the one thing I think as a DB coach, right? You can't coach that. And you could tell them get their head around, but at the end of the day, honestly, at the moment of truth, they're going to do it or they're not. You can practice it as much as you want. They're either going to do it or not. But I like the fact that I think this is a young man that he can play press. I think he can play off. He can play man. He can play zone. You're getting a versatile corner that can kind of transcend different schemes, which is really important, right? That to have guys, because obviously you think about it in the NFL with coaches getting hired and fired and scheme changes and things like that. Just to have a guy that can roll no matter what is very important.
100%, kid. And I think I wonder because again he doesn't play a whole lot in the slot, right? Like he played mostly outside. Now they do have Marcus Neal, who's a 6'1". Crazy enough, 6'1", 210 sophomore who's enlisted to play in the slot because he's their safety or whatever. He plays the slot corner. Then they have Trey Bell, who's the taller corner, 6'3", 191, who plays on the opposite side of him. Will we see him inside? Because like Avery Johnson's, I think, leading receiver returning is the junior Jace Brown, who played a lot in the slot. Like you go back to that Colorado game, like he had big time plays against Colorado. That's the leading receiver returning. And then, the slot is usually the easiest receiver to target because of how much space they can work within rather than trying to push the ball outside. Whereas like it's the receiver, it's the corner, it's the sideline. It's little room for error over there. So I wonder if Iowa State would consider putting him in the nickel. If the safety can cover and everything, but Jace Brown is a quick mover and a good route runner. If you're starting to struggle and Avery's heating up, getting the ball out quickly to Jace, do you make that change? And I think you should. I think you should make the change and put Jontez in the slot for one, because I think that'll help his draft stock with showing teams not only can I play lockdown outside, I can work down in the slot. Because what is it, Keith? We go back to the old conversation. Richard Sherman versus Darrelle Revis. And everybody who knows me know I was always a Darrelle Revis guy because Revis played press man and he traveled. I love Sherman. Sherman, that cover three, the ball skills, former wide receiver, loved it. But I wanted my guys to travel and that could play tight man-to-man coverage and didn't have some of the limited restrictions with their hips in terms of how quickly you can move, transition, stuff like that. Being able to walk down into the nickel and play Jace Brown when you really need to and showcase, hey, I can travel with number one wide receivers in the NFL, that's going to do a lot for his draft stock.
Yep, I agree with DP. Let's do this, man. Let's keep this thing going and flowing. And we're going to wrap this show with the draft sleepers to watch, right? And in the land of the transfer portal, rosters have high turnover. So which guys potentially transferred to Iowa State, to Kansas State, whose draft stock is going to take off? We're going to talk about that in this Kansas State-Iowa State matchup coming up next.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. These days, it feels like there's advice for everything. Cold plunges, gratitude journals, screen detoxes. But how do you know what actually works for you? With so much information online about mental health and wellness, it can be overwhelming to figure out what's true and what will actually help you. That's where talking to a licensed therapist through BetterHelp can make all the difference. You get real, personalized guidance instead of just guessing based on something you saw or heard on social media. Therapy has absolutely helped me with coping skills. Being the best version of myself is so important. Guys, talk it out. Talk out everything you're going through with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/locked-on. Again, guys, talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/locked-on. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/locked-on. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and everyday shot, for being our everydayers. Sleepers, Keith, guys that most people don't know about. And I think when you look at the slate of games that we have, we've talked about Iowa State and Kansas State most of the show. I'm gonna go to Fresno State and Kansas. And Keith, I'm gonna pick a player from each team, but I'm gonna start on defense. I'm gonna say this right. Alzilian Hamilton, guys. That's what it says. All right, 5'11", 185, cornerback for Fresno State. And I'm not gonna lie, teams that like to play off coverage, cover three, press bail, this would be one of your corners that you want to look out for in this game. And he played, unlike, we talked about Jontez, he played both outside and in the slot. Jontez got the frame, in my opinion, to play on the outside. He's 5'11", listed at 5'11", 200. This young man has the frame to play more nickel at 5'11", 185. But I like the instincts. 2 interceptions last year, 8 PBUs, and Jalon Daniels, the quarterback for Kansas, is trying to get back to, he was coming into, I think, what was it, last year? He was viewed as one of the best quarterbacks in the Big 12. And he just didn't have, he didn't have the season that he wanted to have. I think he might have dealt with some injuries last year. Like, Kansas got out to a slow start.
Remember? And because that one of the teams we picked was like they should finish towards the top of the Big 12 with him and the running back, Devin Hill. Yeah. And then they started off real slow and picked up steam like the last 4 or 5 games of the year.
Yeah, so I think he's going to try to, throw the ball, showcase that he can absolutely sling it from the pocket. We know what type of runner Jalon Daniels is, but I think for Alzilian, I was about to mess his name up. Alzilian Hamilton, for AZ, that's what I'm going to start calling him. For AZ, it's all about showing that versatility, making plays on the ball, limiting the big play down the field. And if he can do that, which he did a solid job of it last year, I want to see him be more consistent with it. And then he's a guy that he does not mind getting and putting his face in. That's why I think he's going to be a good nickel corner, because he doesn't mind tackling and being a +1 in the run game. Even at 185, like, he's willing to throw his body around, play sound into his run assignments, things like that. So yeah, definitely keep y'all, when you're watching the Kansas versus Fresno State game, keep your eyes on Alzilian Hamilton, number 3 cornerback for Fresno State.
Yeah, I'm a DP. You mentioned him, and I'm gonna dive into it. Jalon Daniels. And from the perspective of, is he able to rebound, right? Because I think now, obviously, he's probably a known name in college football, but in the sense of the draft, right, and where he stands with that, I think he's more a sleeper now, right? Like, people kind of placed him like, listen, last year wasn't good, kind of put you on the back burner, right? So he's a guy to watch that, like, hey, can he catch steam and get hot like how he was the year before, and then be able to make some progress? Because this is a dual threat guy. I seen him at the Manning Passing Academy, DP. He's listed at 225, 230. He's every bit of that. This is a big boy. And can he put the team on his back from a rushing perspective? And then the most important thing, develop as a passer, right? Can he develop as a passer? And that's going to be huge for him. The accuracy, his completion percentage and things like that going up. And I think he's should be a fifth, might be a 6th-year guy. I want to say he's a 6-year guy. When I was writing his report, that's what I looked into. Listen, this your last hoorah, right? Like there aren't any more opportunities after this. So are you able to take and grow and expound and be like, you know what? I'm going to turn Kansas into that Big 12 contending team, and I don't mind putting it on my back, right? And then potentially do you put yourself in like a situation where you're the Big 12 player of the year and things like that, right? So there's a lot of potential there, but at some point the potential for him has to be realized and turned into actual production for the team. And I think this is a good week for him to kind of start it off because it's week 0. There's not a lot of games. Honestly, Kansas, Iowa State, and Kansas State are the 3 biggest programs, right? So can you turn that into all eyes on me? Let me make a play.
100%. Yeah, he is this is his 6-year senior. I think he redshirted in 2023. I think he got hurt that year.
Injury, yeah. I think 2 of his years he kind of finished injured, I think.
Yeah, so I think they might have even redshirted him 2023, or maybe I think it was the first year, either first or second year, 2020, 2021, somewhere in there. But yeah, he's come off a season, 14 passing touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Can you get back to it was the 2022 season where he looked good. He was 18 passing touchdowns, 4 interceptions, a little over 2,000 yards passing, but you know he can run the ball. And Keith, I'm going to stay with Kansas for my second guy. And we know Devin Neal is in New Orleans. He got drafted. He's in the NFL right now. Daniel Hishaw Jr., like this is the guy that's going to be the next up. Like number 9 for Kansas, I think he is a guy that people must get eyes on in this running back class. He is physical. He is aggressive downhill, 5'10", 220. And can you talk about it with Jalon Daniels? I think it's the same for him. He's listed as that. I think he's every bit of 220. He will lower the shoulder and run through your face mask. And this is a guy that, again, he hasn't like had a lot of carries and everything. So the wear and tear on his body is low. The tread on the tires are still relatively fresh because they've had Devin Neal this whole time. So Devin Neal's been the one, like, and it wasn't just running the ball. They threw the ball to Devin Neal too. He did everything for them, right? Him and Jalon Daniels when Jalon was healthy. I think Daniel Hishaw Jr., again, 5'10", 220, very off the radar, off the beaten path running back in this class. Guys, I'm telling you now, go listen. When Kansas kicks off against Fresno State, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up with 20-plus carries in this game. And they try to dominate them at the line of scrimmage, especially, Keith, because a guy, I didn't know if you were going to bring him up. Remember at USC, that 5-star edge rusher, Corey Foreman, that was there?
Yep.
He transferred to Fresno State.
Yep.
And it's crazy to see a guy go from a 5-star recruit and number one, like one of the top players in the country, to being relatively unknown at Fresno State and being a sleeper. So yeah, to keep him off of Jalon, I'm running the rock. Like I'm running the rock because I feel like this. I think he had like 5.5 sacks or something last year. So it felt like he started to put it together with that change of scenery. So okay, in second year at Fresno State, what if this really, if everything clicks for this young man, he ends up 9, 10, 12 sacks. You know what you don't want to be the reason why he got started and let him just pin his ears back and get after your quarterback. Running the ball with Daniel Hishaw Jr. is going to be big, and I'm gonna definitely be watching out. I think he's number 0. Corey Foreman is number 0 for Fresno State. Yep. Got to see what he can do. I think this is his last year, his senior year. I think he's played every single year he's been in college football, but the wheels never really got turning for him completely. So I'm excited to see if he could put it all together this year.
Yeah, so I'll start with Daniel Hishaw real quick, DP. I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about him as a sleeper to watch, and then in a couple of weeks we're talking about him in a draft riser conversation because the young man has juice, right? He's quick twitch, he's explosive. Out of that pistol offense, you get him going downhill. He has the lateral agility to add to that. There's something real with him, I believe. Like there's real talent there.
Remember Zach Charbonnet? Like I think he gives me some, like, I think he has a little bit more juice than Charbonnet.
I do too.
But remember how Charbonnet came out of nowhere after he transferred from Michigan, went to UCLA, people kind of forgot about him. And then he popped onto the scene and he was drafted with like second round, I think.
So yeah, second, third round.
Like second, third round. I think Daniel Hishaw can do the same thing, can absolutely work his way up the draft board, like you're saying, and be that kind of Zach Charbonnet of this class.
Yep, I agree with DP. That wraps up another episode, man, of the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. I want to end this podcast off by saying shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us each and every single day. I am Keith Sanchez. You can find me on X at The Talent Code. That right there is my guy, my co-host, Mr. Damian Parson. You can find him on X at DP_NFL. And like we like to say, man, y'all can talk to us because we like to talk back.
Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to the podcast, to get the latest episode as soon as it is available on Monday. Monday morning, we're coming back with money makers, bag fumblers, and Coach DP and Coach K have to step into the locker room and hand out their game balls of the week from week 0 as then we hit the road and really hit the grind, because week 1 has all the big time matchups: Texas, Ohio State, LSU, Clemson. It all kicks off next week, but it starts on tomorrow. So come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.